So without further ado, let's get started on how to make your database fundraise for you. So we'll just start off by introducing ourselves. So my name is Louise and I'm the Chief Growth Officer here at Compuco, and I'm working with all of our potential and existing clients to understand their needs and see how we can help them. So I actually used to be a fundraiser for charities for many years across different kinds of organizations. And I've worked with quite a few different CRMs, so I really do know the difference and benefits you can get when you have a really good one supporting your work. I'm going to hand over now to Jack to say hello.
Yeah, hi guys, thanks all for joining. I'm the account manager at Compuco, so similar to Louise, I work directly with our clients to support them with any sort of database needs, demonstrations, and basically be there as like an extension to their business to answer any questions in terms of like database. So yeah, that's me. Over to you, Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm the marketing manager here at Compuco, and yeah, I'll be monitoring chat. So if you have any questions, kind of running the Zoom as well. And I do many things. Part of it is kind of telling the stories that our clients have and kind of the activities that they get up to in terms of their fundraising.
Thank you, guys. Okay, so you can see we've got our agenda written out. Please feel free, as Alex said, to ask any questions in the chat, and we will have some time for some questions at the end. So just before we get started, I just want to tell you a little bit about who we are. Our mission at Compuco is to empower socially responsible organizations such as yourselves with the digital tools they need to build a better world. So this means we are only working with charities and not-for-profit organizations. So we really do have the right focus and expertise to help you succeed digitally. And so we've talked a little bit already about CiviCRM, and I don't know if everybody here knows about Civi. It is the #1 open source CRM for the not-for-profit sector. It's been around since 2005, so it's very well established. Over 11,000 organizations are already using it. It is downloaded 700 times a month and has already been translated into 40 languages. And Civi is the benchmark that we're going to be using throughout this presentation to showcase just how much a powerful CRM can really impact your fundraising. And of course, we work with some amazing people, and I just wanted to share some of our clients who we've loved working with across the arts, education, membership, and of course, charitable organizations. And as we heard, some of them are even here with us today. So an extra thank you for them for joining us. And right, so just before we get started, let's just dip into a few common recurring challenges that we keep hearing about, and also that I personally experienced in the past when fundraising myself. So starting off with pledges, translating pledges into donations. This is often a challenge. People are very happy to say they're going to give money, but then we actually have to get the money in. Renewals, how can we encourage people to give year on year? And then how can we also encourage them to increase their donation? Additionally, we want to keep track of any restricted project-specific funds, and of course, that very important unrestricted core funds. And recording special interests of donors. Now, this is something, when you've had a direct conversation with someone and they've told you they're specifically interested in an area of your work, like where do you write that down? How can you keep that? And how can you then use that to help you target them more specifically? So these are kind of the common areas we're going to cover today. If there's anything else anyone else would like to throw out as a common challenge, I think we already heard a bit from Bex earlier today about trying to utilize more of the data that you already have. So please put it in the chat, and then we'll try and address that a bit later on. So let's start on the basic level. And like I said, people are here with different levels of experience in databases. Some people might be only using currently spreadsheets. And obviously, of course, we have some experienced Civi users. So please bear with me. I'm going to go over just, kind of making it a universal level webinar. So starting on the basic level, how to collect your donations online. So obviously, the easiest way to do this is through your website. And the simplest way is to have a dedicated page and a big donate button on your home page and every page. So this is an example here from the World Heart Federation, who are clients of ours, and then we'll be talking a little bit more about how they're using their website donations. Because to take it to the next level, what you can use is web forms. And using web forms means that you can link the donation from your website straight into your database. So here's a lovely form from the World Heart Federation website. And the benefits are huge being able to do this, because most importantly, you're able to connect the person to the donation on your database without having to do anything manual in between. And the key thing here is having all of your data in one place. Then you can take it one step further, and this will trigger an automatic thank you email to be sent out. And of course, you can have several campaign donation options on that web form so that people can choose to donate to a specific project. And then that will also be recorded within the database for you to then use at a later date. And then, of course, these links are really useful for promoting through social media. So the World Heart Federation actually ran an amazing campaign, which started with the donation forms on their website being shared and promoted with social media. And then any donation would be coded to the campaign and assigned, so you can track the progress of the campaign within your CRM. And then you could also create a mailing group with everybody who's donated to that campaign, and then communicate with them to tell them when the target is reached or any other information. And they actually ran an award-winning campaign. The Use Heart to Connect won Best Campaign in 2021 at the International and European Association Awards. So big well done to them. Let's now talk about getting those pesky pledges in. So anytime you get a pledge, perhaps at an event or over the phone or any other pledge source, you can record it onto the database. And then you will have an automatic email sent out with the link in order for them to make their donation. And then following through that same pattern, once that donation is made, it will be logged into the CRM, and an automatic thank you email can be sent out. So it's really easy to track this once you're using a database, and it really takes away a lot of steps for you as a fundraiser to do. Now we can see here, we've got a little screenshot of all their donations in one place. And you can see here the source. One donation came from a phone call, and that has been paid. And the other one came from an event donation, and that is still pending. And this is where things get really interesting. So how can the database fundraise for you? What you can do is have it set up to automatically send out a reminder email after 1 month, for example, after a payment hasn't been made. So this can save so much time and energy as a fundraiser to not have to worry about chasing up pledges. Just to know that if someone hasn't paid, automatically an email will go out 1 month later just to remind them. And the thing is, I would say is sometimes fundraisers can be a bit wary of automated emails, but they can still be really warm and in your tone of voice. I mean, you're still writing the email, just the donors don't know that you didn't specifically write it and send it on that exact day. And what's really important is you can keep track of all of this through mailing reports within the database, so you can see every day or every month who's received that particular email and keep track of it. Or you could even set up so you've got an auto BCC anytime an email like that went out. So you basically had a notification, and it will tell you, oh, so-and-so hasn't paid, right? Let's see if they pay this time. And of course, don't forget, the manual option is always still there. So if you didn't want this to happen, you could just disable it for the individuals if needed. So moving on to ensuring renewals and repeat donations. So of course, we know regular engagement is important, but regular bespoke engagement can take things even further. So sending out regular newsletters are great, but what you can do is use your database to segment your data and send out things that are specific to those people. So for example, as we said, if someone has donated to a particular campaign or project, sending out tailored newsletters around that project at strategic times of the year is going to be really engaging for them. Naturally, also, you might send out different newsletters tailored to the size of donation you're getting. People who are giving under £50 or under £100 might be interested in like a broader perspective, whereas people who are giving bigger donations, maybe £1,000 plus, you might want to target that a bit more to the things that you know that they might be more interested in, bigger projects. Another really great tool that a database can help you with is activity lists, which is really good for major donors. So as soon as you get a donation from them, you can set a task to make sure you ensure regular personal engagement. So everyone who has access to a database can have their own task list as a fundraiser. And you could have it set up that every time you record a certain type of donation, there's a future activity that is auto-generated for 6 months later. And in this case, it's a phone call. So I know in my diary that that's already, anytime I enter that donation, I don't have to think about it. That reminder will be there for me at the appropriate amount of time. And I certainly found that kind of thing to be really helpful for me to just keep on top of that regular engagement. You don't want anyone to slip through the net or feel like they're not important to you. So continuing on with this, how can we make the database fundraise for us? So automatic emails for annual or repeat donations. So this can really help with catching donors who usually give once a year and you don't want them to miss out. So you can have the database set up that if no donation has been made after 11 months from the last donation, then an automatic email can go out. So, you've got to use your wording, but it can say something along the lines of, this time last year, you kindly gave this amount and we'd be grateful if you would donate again. And you could even take it one step further and be project specific or campaign specific. This time last year, you gave X to this project. And here we're using what we call tokens, where the database will put in the amounts for you, put in the project for you, and this automatic email can go out. So again, you know that those people are going to be caught, and you don't have to check each month and calculate and see, oh, is someone not given? And it's a really great way to do it. And of course, you can actually generate the report and have like a bird's eye view of it to see exactly who was sent this email and when. Okay, so moving on to the power of the direct debit. Now, as fundraisers, we all know it is brilliant to convert pledges into direct debits because they are automatic and they are ongoing and they last forever, hopefully. So I'm sure lots of you have had lots of direct debit conversations, but we see this as a really great opportunity to increase donations. So obviously you can have an opportunity to donate a fixed amount, and sometimes fixed amounts can seem quite big. So if you give people the opportunity straight away to set up a direct debit, suggesting instead of £50, they give just £5 a month, when you put those figures in front of them, suddenly it doesn't seem so scary. And actually in the end, if they do go for that, you will end up with an extra £10 donation. So they've increased without even really thinking about it. They've increased when they thought they basically saved themselves by spreading it out, So let's look at another way the database can fundraise for you in this context. So the first thing is to find all the donors who have given under or between a certain amount in the previous year, which kind of gives you your starting point. And you know what, for people out there, for organizations that don't have any kind of database, even that alone can be hugely useful because you can see that list and then decide how you want to target them. And then you could even create a group, a mailing list on your database for these people, keeping them all together until you decide what to do with them. But then you could send them a tailored email, as we said, bespoke engagement, or maybe you want to invite them all to a special event, all the people who haven't yet given this year, or all the people who give in a certain amount. But how can your database do things for you? So you could actually have it set up that you have automatic regular emails asking people considering to switch to a monthly donation with a direct debit link already included. So that could just go out on a regular basis until they make the change, and then your database will know they've made the change and will stop sending them those emails. Another thing you can do is to segment your mailing list and actually insert the amounts. So like I said, putting that number in their head. So here's the example using tokens again. And actually you can use this for like people who give more, even in a more major donor category. This time last year, you kindly donated £500 specifically to this project. But we would be grateful if you would consider donating £50 a month via direct debit. And of course, I just put in here the extra bit of what £50 a month can do to contextualize for them. Maybe it could help support 3 children per month for a regular medical checkup. Now, the biggest tip I ever had as a fundraiser was putting figures in front of people. Sometimes when you just ask for a donation, or you ask, will you increase, or will you consider a direct debit? If you just say it like that, and it's just kind of out there in the world, it kind of, people don't really know what level or how to react to that. And I've often found when you put numbers in front of them, suddenly it doesn't seem so scary. So saying, well, you gave £500, would you increase to 550 or 600 pounds? And actually, would you consider switching to a direct debit, which is only 50 pounds a month? I just feel like sometimes putting those numbers in really helps. And because you've got a database that can really do it specifically per donor, the right numbers for them, then that makes it all the easier. Okay, so using donation trends, this is something else a database can help you with, because databases can be used to track interests. So there are different ways that you could do this. You can use the web forms. Anytime someone is making a donation online, you can have a tick box of areas of interest that they could select. So maybe you're an education charity and you do scholarships, or you support children with special needs, and you can get people to tick these boxes. And then you can create groups on your database. So you can search anyone who's ticked that box, put them into a group, and then, as we said, send them targeted campaigns and information. Now, of course, you can manually tick this as well. I mean, the number of times I was at an event and I ended up talking to someone during the reception, and they told me they're really passionate about something, and then I'd, make a mental note of it, or I'd write it down, and then when I got back, I would update their record, so I knew it was secure, that information was in a secure place, and a place where I could actually use it to send them tailored that's my doorbell, tailored information. I'm just going to ignore that, thank you. So yes, my friend will go and get that. Using donate, sorry, these are the joys of working from home, as we all know. Okay, using donation trends. So reports to track trends. So we've been talking a little bit about reports throughout this already. And it's really great, the amount of reports that you can pull from a really good database. So for example, here we've got a list of projects and the number of donations that have been made per project. Because sometimes you want to see which project is most popular, and it's not always about the amount of donations. It can be about the number of people that are engaging with your project. And then, of course, you can do reports on any kind of areas. We've got some examples here. You might want to do a report on age to kind of find out, where your key demographic is. Maybe location. If you're a local charity, you might want to pinpoint where people are giving the most, depending on what projects you're doing in the community. And maybe looking at the source of donations. Are people donating more online, or how does that compare to in-person events or by direct mail if you're running direct mail campaigns? The levels of donations, of course, seeing, do you have lots of people giving at a certain level, and then maybe you could just move them up slightly? And of course, project-based versus core funds, and the types of projects that are most popular and most engaging, or the types of projects that haven't got enough fundraise money coming in, and then you really need to do a push for those projects and put them at the forefront. Right, so here's another trick, how to make your database fundraise for you. So lapsed donors. So I think lapsed donors is something that really is a bugbear of most organizations. You might have people who've given to you consistently year on year or biannually for many years, and then suddenly they stop giving, and all the regular emails and campaigns are not bringing them back. So what you can do is set up your database to create a special email if they haven't given a donation for like 3 years or 5 years, however long you want it to be. And you can combine that email with the interest tags or by location, again, making it bespoke. But you basically can create a rule for specific targeted messages to go out that are specifically designed to re-engage and bring them back. And it can literally say, we miss you and we'd love for you to come back. And maybe you can tell us what your interest areas are again, because these emails are very different in tone to your regular ongoing bespoke emails. So having a database be able to do that for you, having it all set up and ready to go is really marvelous in my opinion. So we are going to move on to some bonus features. So this is just an idea. So you could create giving levels and you can use your database to kind of see like all the demographics of your donors like we just discussed, and then work out what kind of giving level might just push people to give more regularly or push them to give a little bit more. So for example, you could say you've actually got quite a few young donors who are kind of giving £50, £70. You could set a level of becoming a young ambassador and ask them to give £100. And then you can target all the donors on your database from a certain age bracket and send it out to them and see if that will encourage them to feel a little bit more connected to the organization. Additionally, you could go a bit higher and ask people to become a friend of the organization, giving, you know, something like £500 a year, depending on the levels, of course. It needs to be appropriate to your organization. But this way, you would basically target people who've given between certain amounts over a period of time and see if kind of, again, connecting, engaging with them at that level could just get them to bump up. And what you can also do is include benefits. Like maybe you would include an invitation to like a special reception for everyone who is a friend of the organization. I mean, most people like an event, and it's really nice to have the opportunity to network with other people who are that've got that same engagement and connection to the organization as they do. So a couple of other bonus features. Gift aid declarations for our UK donors and organizations. This is really important. This is money on the table. You really don't want to miss these opportunities. And the gift aid forms can be filled in using a web form and then go directly into your database and be stored against the donor record. So it's all there forevermore, which is something that is really useful. And again, we're saying all your data in one place. You've got an overview of that donor. And then likewise, you'd be able to run a report of all the donors that don't have gift aid declarations recorded. And then you could send them a tailored email saying, please do fill in this gift aid declaration because, you know, we'd love to be able to get that extra money for the organization. And I think everyone wants that. So I'm sure, you know, these things are always well received. And then for celebrations as well. So you can have the database set up to send automatic happy birthday emails to all of your donors, which obviously it shows that you care about them, but it keeps your charity at the top of their minds. It's another way to just, oh yes, that's the charity I love and support. That's great that they've reached out to me. Let me think about, you know, what I'm doing with them or for them at the moment. So it's really great to do small touches like that. And also you could send happy anniversary emails to your volunteers or your committee members after, you know, X number of years of service, and the tokens will be able to put this in for you. You can even send it to staff as well, because, you know, all staff everyone likes to be appreciated, and everyone smiles when they get an email like that, or at least I do, but I think most people do. Okay, so now I am going to just give you a little bit of an overview into CiviPlus, which some of you may have heard of, but some of you Civi CRM users may be new to you. So let me tell you, CiviPlus is, jumping over a slide, CiviPlus is the database that can fundraise for you. So everything I've spoken about today, CiviPlus can do. So as I said at the beginning, CompuCo have been working with Civi CRM for many years. And what we've done now is we have launched what we think is the most accessible version yet, CiviPlus. So we have collected all the very best features from across the Civi community, and we've got it all hosted in a completely secure cloud infrastructure. And CiviPlus basically combines the innovations from all around the world with our CompuCo expertise, giving you that very best Civi CRM experience. So it's all in one package, a powerful, easy to use, all-in-one fundraising platform. And the next slide here is going to just show you a little bit, a little headline taster of what CiviPlus can do. And it is much, much more than just taking donations. We've got a very powerful membership management area, brilliant event management area, of course, all the reports and analytics. We talked about task dashboards for your staff, so everyone can really be on top of everything. There's so many different things here. You know, everybody will be using things differently, but this just kind of gives you an amazing overview of what CiviPlus can do in, as we said, completely accessible and secure package. And we're just going to give you a little sneak peek at what it looks like. So again, for those of you that have Civi, it may not look like this. This is our Shoreditch theme, which was actually designed and created by CompuCo and has been used by many organizations everywhere. So here's our lovely donor, Mr. Tony Stark. We're very, very fortunate that he is part of our family. But what you can see here is on the first page, we've got all of his contact information very clearly visible. But down that column on the left-hand side is everything connected to Tony. So we can see his contributions, we can see any memberships he may have, has he signed up to any events, etc., etc. So you get that complete overview all in one go, and then you can basically dip in of all of these tabs and see everything related to Tony in one fell swoop. So here we've dipped into his contributions page, and he's been very generous. You know, that bottom donation is really marvelous. So we can see all the donations he's made, and we can actually see here that he's got a membership to do with our organization, which is great because that's also a contribution. So again, you've got that complete view of a donor or a member all in one go, because donors and members can be both. But let me not go too much into membership, because actually that is the topic of our very next webinar, which is coming up in July. So I feel like there are a few membership organizations that are here with us today. So we'd absolutely love for you to join us. And we'll be talking about why members don't renew and how you can fix this, of course, using an amazingly powerful database like CiviPlus. And we will send you an invite after this webinar, but we'll also send the link to sign up in the chat now if anyone's feeling like they want to lock it down and get it in their diary straight away. And obviously, please feel free to share this with anyone else from your organization or any sister or brother organizations that might also be interested. We will be sending a copy of this webinar after, and we will be in touch. But I just want to summarize by saying we've talked a lot about automating everything, and it's really hard sometimes to let go and feel comfortable with automation. But actually, we're not saying automate everything. We're just saying, you know, we understand you still need the human touch, but if you are a small fundraising team or a really busy fundraising team, if you can have even 1 or 2 emails a month or 1 or 2 tasks that are to do with those emails a month automated, that can save hours of time and brain power and basically free you up to do even more for your charity. So everyone has different needs and will use the system differently. So basically, we would love to have a chat with you. We want to hear about your needs, and we would love to do a personalized and tailored demo for you and really take you into the site, into CiviPlus, and show you what it can do and how it could help you even more. So Jack and I will be in touch with everybody soon. Or please do feel free to reach out straight away if you want to set up a call straight away. So I think that's everything from me for now. And I will open up to any questions. Don't all rush at once. Is anyone there? Have I been talking to myself for a while?
Hi.
Wow.
Sorry, yeah, no, just interesting something you said earlier on about gift aid was that I hadn't actually considered using, we use CiviCRM and we have your Shoreditch theme currently, so we use web forms for a lot, and I hadn't thought about transitioning the gift aid form into the web form. Actually hadn't considered that as a possibility, but that would make sense, because I'm guessing then when you do that, you can actually create a field to record that the gift aid information has been provided as well into Civi.
Yeah.
Would that be correct in thinking that?
Yeah, and then once, if you want to reconcile your account system, so you can pull a batch of all the donations that are eligible for gift aid, and then once you export that and reconcile it with like Xero or whatever finance system you use, it will know that that donation's eligible for gift aid as well. There's
Brilliant.
also with Civi, it's not in CiviPlus yet, but there's an extension that links directly to HMRC if you're UK based. Which can send all of the gift aid donations directly to HMRC for you as well. So that's another bit of automation that might be worth looking at.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
No problem.
Great. Bex has raised a hand. Thank you, Laura.
Just showing that I can use this newfangled technology. If you hear what sounds like a pack of Rottweilers in the background, it's actually 5 very small dogs. I was just wondering, and this is a slightly impossible question, I know, but if you're an organisation that's kind of really starting to do this but still is quite novice at it, what of all the things you've talked about would you suggest starting with? What's a good start?
Well,
I said it was a mean question.
Yeah, so I think it really depends on what your key aims are and what the outcomes you want to be. So I think actually it's quite hard to just say it now, because we're better understanding a little bit more about, you know, what you're currently doing and what you want to do better or differently. And I think as a fundraising organization, there are so many, it depends who's in your team and what areas are you focusing on even, because there's so many different ways to engage people.
I think just to add to that, Louise, it'd be really useful to like work backwards almost, Bex, to realise like the shortfalls. So whether that's like laps, which Louise talked about, or maybe just people dropping off and not donating regularly, for example, or not converting to direct debit, like working backwards from that and seeing where the shortfalls are, because there might be areas in the organisation that you work for, obviously disability rights, that are fantastic in getting sending the newsletters that you mentioned and then getting a donation off the back of that, but maybe there's like a bit of a downfall on conversion to direct debit, and then understanding why that is, and then making sure that the database can support bringing them over.
It is trying to do, okay.
And talking to your team as well, you know, maybe your team are spending an inordinate amount of time doing something, like, as we said, the thank you emails, and if that's taking an exceptional amount of time, that would be a great thing to kind of take away. And then what could they do with that extra time is the task of figuring out, which is an exciting one to have.
It's the sort of integrating all our efforts, isn't it? That's the thing that kind of keeps coming through to me. It isn't just doing one or other things, it's just integrating the whole thing. Thank you. Guys, I am going to have to duck out now, I'm afraid. But thank you so much for all of that. It was fantastic. And I'll be seeing you again, because yes, as you said, we're working with you, but that was really helpful. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye from the UK.
Bye.
Right, I think we've got Kubo. How much does CiviPlus cost? So yeah, I guess it's a difficult question to ask. The pricing structure is based on number of contacts that are brought into the system and the number of users. So when I say users, that's people using the back end of CiviPlus. So people like yourself, or maybe someone from the fundraising team that adds like donations manually. But there's also a different pricing matrix whereby if you're an organisation that has huge number of contacts but only a small number of users, we can also like switch on that pricing matrix as well, so you can do it per number of user. But I think I can pick that up with you after in terms of like how the lay of the land at Wikimedia is, your side, and what the costing would be for that. I can drop you an email with that as well. Is there any other questions, guys? Otherwise, normally silence is bliss.
Yes. Okay. Well, we've done very well then, actually.
I would have.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, please. So you told that CiviPlus is on a cloud infrastructure, or on your cloud infrastructure.
Yeah.
So is there some chance or some way how to use in the same time CiviPlus on your cloud infrastructure and like membership site on our own WordPress on our own well, we now have WordPress hosted by our own, and the CiviCRM installed on it. So how to combine them, or how to use CiviPlus with our membership website?
Yeah, so how that works for a few people we work with at the moment is they would host their CMS, so WordPress, Drupal, or Joomla. They'd self-host that, or they'd maybe use an external provider. And then with CiviPlus, we would host using Amazon Web Services, and we could create sign-up pages, events, donation pages, for example, using CiviPlus and CiviSite, and then we could link them to the WordPress site. And it would just redirect the user directly to that donation page, membership sign-up page, or whatever kind of page that you kind of want to set up.
Though, yeah, I guess if you have your own service and you want to do your own specific thing, that's probably a bigger conversation. Kind of CiviPlus is mostly focused around people who don't want to kind of have all this server stuff and do the self-hosting. So, you know, we also work with like the more regular CiviCRM and do that kind of thing. So, and it has all of the innovations that you see in CiviPlus. So I'm sure Jack is more than happy to have a conversation around that.
Yeah, no, I'm completely happy to pick that up. Did that answer your question, Kuboff, or?
Answered, thank you.
Brilliant.
Anyone else?
Laura, Roger, Lauren, Julia, Kieran, anything else?
I just, not so much a question, I just want to thank you guys for the presentation. Obviously, as I'm, well, not just because I'm calling from Barbados, but the organization that I'm sort of representing to the Hope Foundation, because it's in Barbados, I think there's going to need to be some customization. So probably what I'll do is I'll reach out to you guys and have a specific demo call with the actual founder of Hope Foundation and myself, who's really just helping, and her webmaster to try to figure out the best way forward. So thanks a lot, guys.
That's brilliant. Cheers, Kieran. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, not a question, but also a thank you for the very informative presentation. I definitely got some ideas how to help my organization reach out to donors. So thanks again.
Brilliant. Cheers.
That's great. Thank you, Julia. Where are you from? Who's your
Halifax, Canada.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I'm also Polish and pretty new to Canada, so that's another factor.
Oh, wow.
Brilliant.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us. And everybody, it's been really great. I'm glad to hear you got some tips out of it. And, you know, we'd love to continue the conversation with everyone. And of course, love to see you if it's relevant for you to join us at our membership webinar in a few weeks.
Yeah, definitely.
Doing more in the future. So
yes, and even more in the future. Yeah.
Thanks,
Probably
guys,
great.
for your time. It's been great.
Cool.
Thank
Brilliant.
you so much.
Take care, all.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
bye.